til ykkar nokkur atriði. Bið ykkur að setja GSM síman ykkar á silent, svo þeir trufla ekki fyrirlesara. Eftir hvert fyrirlestur hugsanlega svigrúm fyrir spurningar, 1, 2, 3. Það fyrir eftir hvernig tími liggur, en ég mjög ströng á tímamörkum. Þannig að ég hérna með gul og rauð spjöld og veifa og ég ætla að reyna að sjá til þess að hver fyrirlestur hefjist á réttum tíma og hann ljúki líka á tilsettum tíma. Ef við hefum tíma í lokin og þá getum við tekið á móti fleiri spurningum. Nú það fólk að taka þátt í þessari umræðu viðburðinn á Twitter og ég var beðin að minna ykkur á það, UTmessan, og svo náttúrulega hafið þið kynst í að það eru veitingar hérna allt hús á báðum hæðum og nokkrum stöðum á sýningarsvæðinu og svo ég beðin að biðja ykkur að taka þátt í ráðstefnu matinu, að gefa ykkar mat á því hvernig fyrirlesum hefur tekist til og mér sem fundarstjóra og þetta náttúrulega gert til þess að undirbúningsaðilar geti gert þennan viðburð enn betri næst. Og nú þá ég kona fyrsta fyrirlesaranum og það nú kona sem að margir þekkja því hún hefur verið hérna oft áður og ég ætla að kynna hana á ensku. The first speaker is Paula Januszkiewicz. Yes. She is a penetration tester and IT security auditor, enterprise security MVP and trainer, MCT, and Microsoft Security Trusted Advisor. She is also a top speaker on many well-known conferences and writes articles on Windows security, and she wrote a book about Threat Management Gateway 2010. She is the owner of the company CQURE and proudly holds the role of the security architect in iDesign. She conducted hundreds of IT security audits and penetration tests for different kinds of customers, starting with private companies, ending up with governmental organizations. Her distinct specialization is definitely security of operating systems. Her favorite subject is Microsoft security, in which she holds multiple Microsoft certifications. Besides being familiar and possessing certifications with other related technologies. Paula is passionate about sharing her knowledge with others. She is the author of many security-related and experience-based trainings. Topics include advanced Windows security, public key infrastructure, Internet Information Services, penetration testing, advanced Windows troubleshooting. In private, she enjoys researching new technologies, which she converts to authored trainings. She has been doing penetration tests for 11 years. She is one of the few people in the world that has got official access to a source code of Windows.
Yes.
Please. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Okay, so good afternoon, guys. I hope the lunch was okay. Was it good? Yeah, I like it so much. Perfect. So, you know who am I and what am I doing? So security is a definite my subject. That's why I'm a kind of boring person always, because anything I do is related to security. Even my husband is doing the same. So basically, subjects are around that always. Okay, guys, so we have only 30 minutes. Therefore, let's make the use of time as much as possible, and let's discuss about a couple of things that I see the most within the infrastructure and what kind of things we can do better whenever it's about the Windows security. And a couple of things you may find maybe sometimes obvious, but trust me, every time whenever there is like a penetration test going on, one of these things, this is something that allows us to get inside infrastructure. And it's not really the fact that we are like cool or something like that, not at all. It's actually super easy to overuse a couple of things, and this is what I would like to talk about. So, first thing that we do have to discuss regarding our presentation, it's of course the tiny agenda. As you already know, of course, I'm speaking on a different kinds of events, and if it's about the additional materials from the presentation, I will definitely recommend reaching out to this guy here, because Mark Rusinovich is the author of the Windows Internals book, and I think that there is nothing better than Windows Internals book if it's about the security, because security, it's nothing but knowing how operating system works. And after that, we can bring some logic to the field. So just a tiny comment around that. First of all, what is my session goal for today? So we're going to discuss a couple of techniques, as I already said, that are, excuse me, this ran a little bit too far. Here we go. This is so much better. So we're going to discuss a couple of techniques that are related to the security. So what kind of step can we take to make our operating system a little bit less accessible? The major goal of the session is to make you feel technically a little bit more passionate about what operating system is about. Because whenever we are discussing something that I really don't like to say it, like hacking, because technically this is what we are doing, we call it researching. And the reason why we call it like that is because everybody hacks everything everywhere. But what does it really mean? It means that we are getting inside the operating system, okay, but the limited paths are available. And if you are a hacker, you don't really have much choice but pick from A, B, C, D entry points, and that's it. And as long as we know what they are about, we are able to move further. So this is what this session is about. If you are interested in getting some additional tools, of course, we do have ones. And if you want to check out, it's not an advertisement, don't worry, I'm really bad at marketing, but secure.pl or .us, and if you go to tools, you'll find a link over there with all of the tools that we will be discussing today. But I don't take any kind of responsibility for what you're going to do with those. That means that if you, for example, double-click on some tool and suddenly it appears that you just sent your all documents to our FTP server, thank you for that. So be careful, that's what I'm saying. Yes, virtual machine, put the tools over there and have fun, not in the production environment. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Okay, so very easy concept for the agenda. Offline and offline access, and this is what we're going to discuss. Very briefly, what kind of stuff, what kind of trends we've got within the offline, what kind of things we do have within the online. And as every session, of course, I do have a bunch of demos for you, and hopefully you will find them useful as well. Okay, so just a tiny question to you guys. Whenever you do have, like, your infrastructure, if you could, of course, you don't have to answer, judge your security. Is there a situation, for example, that you were in a hurry, and you were like, okay, let's just do it. Administrators, this is their job, to make things work. That means that whenever we are in a hurry, maybe we make mistakes. And at the end, we do have something like that. So basically, this is, of course, a very extreme spaghetti thing. But whenever we are thinking about our attitude, our approach, sometimes it's understood we need to keep things going. Sometimes IT, it's not the first line of business. You work in a hospital. There's a couple of more things that are important, so that's why we are configuring things, and then we forget. Because always, and I bet you may want to agree with me, or maybe not, but the tiny temporary solutions, they tend to last. And at the end, it appears that they're like the best. But person who created them, it's no longer there, and so on, don't touch it, maybe not that extreme as well, but basically they tend to work. So, let's jump to actually one of my favorite subjects that is related to an offline access. An offline access, whenever we are thinking about it, this is something that is a privilege that everyone has. Everyone has this privilege. Your users, your attackers, so to say, your guests. So when the user takes the laptop home, can the user know the domain's admin's password? That's the big question here. Well, technically, yes. Even if the laptop is home. And the reason why it's like that is because whenever you are logging on, for example, with the privileged account to the user's computer, your password remains in a memory. And of course, everything that I say, it has a coverage within the demo. So if you find like, oh, okay, I got a couple of questions, please come later and after the session, and I'm happy to explain more. So users are very creative. And if we, for example, say that, oh, my user will never do it, well, that's very wrong, because I saw a bunch of situations when users decided, and I bet you did as well, decided to bypass security because they had to do something, they have to work. So if you are locking them out because they are just a domain users, they're going to be like, okay, but I need to do that. I never could ask him to make me a local admin or just to give me the possibility to do something. Then I will take it on my own. Therefore, we do have something that is called offline access. And let me actually bring the machine up and show you a bunch of things. So This is the machine, Windows 8, which is booted from the ISO image, yes? So not a big philosophy, everyone can do it. So basically, what can we do about that certain point? So I'm gonna go next, I'm gonna click repair your computer, and I'm gonna go to troubleshoot and advanced options, and I'm gonna go to the command prompt. And right now, user has so many possibilities. Let me quickly enlarge the font, because apparently every time you reboot, you cannot really change the font, so it's going to be bigger, but now it's a little bit better. Great. So what kind of options we've got? Well, we can make a small trick. It's called image file execution options, replacing UTmessan. UTmessan, it's an on-screen keyboard. On-screen keyboard is when you log on, you've got this tiny circle, yes? And then when you click on it, there's going to be a command prompt that opens. Okay, but this is a known trick. Let's do something else. In operating system, we do have tiny thing that it's worth paying attention to. Let me check out. I'm in a good place. So what is this thing? Every time you are running any kind of service, any kind of files, particularly services, so operating system files, they do not have to be signed. They do not have to be digitally signed. So if somebody gives you the service, and it might be a good one, of course, then operating system, it's a mechanism that is not there, does not require the service to be signed. So what kind of stuff can we do? We can run something, for example, so that it's going to be our malware, and that certain malware will operate on the fly because services, they can start automatically, right? So this is number 2 in the registry. Service, manual, automatic, and disabled. So basically, let me go to my files that I've got over here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my installer. Oh, sorry, CD installer. Here we go, CLS. And then over here, I do have my malware. And this is a malware that will not be recognized by your antivirus. The reason why? It's because I wrote it. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a notepad. You never know. Yes, it's intended. Yes, so whatever it's in application is intended. It's good. Well, not really. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to install the certain malware, so off.cmd. And I just did it really fast because I prepared a tiny script for it. What I did, I just created a service that if you have a look, what is the name, what is the name of the service? It is named Badone. Yes, so this is this one over here. And basically, my job is done. So what I will do, I will just reboot. So this is just a tiny thing. How can you set up everything automatically? With what kind of credentials? With local system. Did somebody ask me for authentication? No. Why it is easy to set up things as local system? Because you don't have to put credentials. You just say, I want this to be running as a local system, and then it runs. So this is pretty positive over here. And now we will need to wait for the quick reboot. Very good. And now the user will log on. So I do have some password over here that I will use to log on. And basically, the next stage that I will do is to listen to what this machine interesting has to say within the network. So in the meantime, I'm going to open up the web page. So I'm logged on right now. So nothing is going on. It's just the normal stuff. No pop-ups. Of course, I can show you that, but nothing. It's just a regular machine. This machine is connected already to the internet, which is awesome because that means that I do have access to this person's password. And my malware sends that password over the network. So let me pull the website. Just a second. Okay, here we go, almost there. Website is opening, so that takes a moment, small moment. Yay, come on. Don't do this to me. Yes, this is so much better. Here we go. Open. And that particular password will be basically in a clear text. So my website is still opening, but let me tell you what is the situation that is happening underneath. So basically what I've got, here we go. So this is the one, yes. So basically what I've got underneath is the tiny website here. You can pull it from the internet, by the way. And there is this tiny log. If you open it up, the log contains the small history of what users are doing. And today, we do have a 7th of February. As you see, I am not refreshed yet. So I don't see any data, but that's okay. I'm going to refresh it one more time. And then go to the end of the web page. And in the moment, because machine already registered itself, this is our IP address. So now I'm waiting for the reaction. And the reaction is happening more or less every 15 seconds. So basically, that means that the service is already working. If we will not see it on the web page, we can always see it. Let me pull this website from the other place, from the private mode in Internet Explorer. We can always see it locally. So eventually, I do have, of course, backup if that doesn't work. But it really nicely does. Okay, now I see the reaction. So this is the situation. Come on, give me the password. Apparently, you see also that this is something that we are dumping, yes? And I will refresh it. If that doesn't work, of course, then we will go back and, this is, okay. And then we will go back and see if it pulls out, because we need to wait for the moment. So just a tiny comment here. I just installed a piece of malware on the box. Why I could do it? The reason why I could do it is because I had an offline access to the certain machine. Basically, whenever we are talking about, let me lock the desktop. So lock. When we are talking about what kind of stuff we can do using the offline access, of course, the user, this tiny thing, can be also a command prompt. Yes? So this is what user can do. Who user is? User is a system. That means that the user can dump everybody's password and do anything, basically, who is logging to the certain machine. Okay, let me go back, and in the meantime, I'm going to refresh the web page, and let's see what kind of data can we get. And don't get me wrong, it's not that Microsoft is bad or something like that. Not at all, actually. The situation is that whenever we do have this kind of mechanism like local security authority subsystem, local security authority subsystem is actually loading data to the memory, and we don't really have much choice. And therefore, there's a small quiz. Whenever you do have two workstations, workstation number 1, workstation number 2, here they are not the members of the domain. This you log on as administrator. Here you log on as administrator. This is the password, password. This is the password, password. Okay, they are totally independent. The question is, are you able to browse the resources of the other machine, being on machine A, let's say, without putting a password? Yes. Thank you. Why? Yes, that's the big question here. Why we are able to do it? Because what is it? Like we can magically soak within the network? Not at all. Somebody authenticates us. Who is this? Local security authority subsystem. What does it mean? That they do have our password. Because they use the password for authentication. If you would like to check out, of course, you can run the tool that is called Mimikatz. And Mimikatz basically will show you all the details that are related to what we are talking about. I don't want to really show Mimikatz. Of course, if you want, I can show this, no problem. But Mimikatz has been shown on so many events, and I don't want to be boring. I got something more interesting to you. Okay, so let me go to the small summary. Why things like that are possible? Why they're possible? The reason why they're possible is because things were not encrypted. It means that every time somebody is accessing to our machine, there is nothing that is protecting us, preventing the malicious behavior. Therefore, what is the solution? Solution for such a situation is very simple. BitLocker or TrueCrypt or McAfee endpoint encryption and so on. Very good. What is this preventing from? Getting access using the offline mode to the certain machines. Okay, but I got an answer for you. Not a positive one. It's called Rubber Quack Quack. And Rubber Quack Quack, it's a tiny pen drive that I've got right now in my hand. It looks like a pen drive, but for real, it's not a pen drive, it's a keyboard. It doesn't look like a keyboard, but it has a keyboard chipset inside. So basically, if I plug it in, does it mean that I can type things? Yes, I can type things on your computer. You're going to copy me files, and I'm going to type a couple of things. So it's actually a real story within my projects that are sometimes really boring because security mistakes are so repeating. An administrator is sitting in front of his desk. I know that there is a BitLocker set up. And I'm sitting, and we are discussing, pre-set up regarding the project, like, could you please show me the SLAs, network schemas, tra-la-la-la, all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, so please show me this. And he's like, okay, let me grab it for you. And he turns back, he started to search. What I do like that. Let me show you how the whole situation basically works. So, within that positive scenario, let me duplicate my desktop, because otherwise I will not be able to show you this. I need to have a duplicated mode. Therefore, this is something that is going to work out for us. Okay, so I'm plugging in the USB stick right now. And he cannot see it. This is a situation that is going on really fast. Because what is the attack on? This attack is actually on the BitLocker and any kind of offline protection mechanisms that are no longer working because we are online. My hands are here, by the way, yes? So I'm typing right now, and I'm typing command prompt. And that command prompt, it's gonna be running as. Because who is this guy? Okay, UAC is turned on, that's very good. But usually, he is an administrator. Maybe local, I don't care. Can I? I can type. So basically, and it's not a movie, it's a real thing, I'm adding the keys, BitLocker keys, to his disk. So this is actually the easiest key. It's divided by 11 according to the BitLocker rules. 0 is divided by 11, so here we go. I'm adding additional one, recovery password, and my disk is BitLockered. So basically I do have additional keys. Now if you steal my laptop, you're gonna know that I do have all zeros, technically. So what I will do right now, I'm gonna do a tiny trick, because I do have these keys. I can save them on the pen drive, or I can just load them to my server. And that's what I'm doing. I'm building up the script that's gonna be using the very simple mechanism like an FTP, loading all the keys that I've got right now from his disk to my server. So basically the script is almost ready. And as you see my password, of course you can log on, it's only for that folder, so you will see that the data is here, I will show you them anyway. So FTP, I'm connecting with the parameters from the script. It's the most lazy demo ever, I don't have to type. And then, as you see, I'm uploading the keys. The underscore, it's my machine's name. So I don't have the host name for me, it's all underscores. So basically, I'm done. And he turns back and he's like, these are your network schemas. And I'm like, thank you, this is so nice of you. And now we're done. Let me show you where the keys are and what they're about. Okay, so I'm gonna enter our website and then malware demo, which is where all the stuff is. So today, we do have a 7th of February. Right now, as you see, it's 7:02, because this was my time zone, so we are 1 hour forward. And then I enter here, BitLocker keys, website opens, come on. And then this file is containing BitLocker keys, yes? So lesson learned, very simple. BitLocker is very cool. Of course, it's very nice and it protects from the offline access. But if within other layers we are violating the rules, like for example, he turned back, it's a psycho thing, you know? I've been watching people for several years because we are doing also social engineering. And how people behave, it's unbelievable. So basically, what he did, it's kind of not nice when you are protecting this is mine, don't look. It's not nice. People were like, oh, he's so paranoid, yes? So basically, he turned back, and he did not lock the desktop, having something in his mind, and I was able to do that. When people are in the proximity of the room, they don't lock their desktop because they see them. As you see, not usually like that. When we go out, we do. When we are in, we don't. You make yourself coffee here, the desktop is not locked. I'm coming, I plug it in. You will never notice that. So 3 lessons here. 1, BitLocker, definitely, it's a cool solution. Any kind of offline level protection. If you don't do it, people will get the local admin, as I showed you, if whoever logs on, or this winlog on tiny CMD prompt that you can have on the screen, you can reset an administrator's password just like that. And of course, so to show you, because it's kind of net user, what kind of users we've got? Administrator, net user, administrator, what password you would like? Iceland, 1, 2, 3, exclamation, and hash exclamation mark. Completed successfully. So what else do we need? And then this person is able to, of course, move further. Okay, So this is just a tiny, tiny demo. And another lesson learned, of course, is that if I say lock your desktop, that sounds very, very obvious. So basically, not only, this is my raccoon. If you ever wondered if he is alive, he is still alive. So I did not kill him or something like that. Okay. Yeah. So basically, whenever we are discussing this kind of techniques, here we go, then we should take into consideration the fact that we have many layers available, protection should be on all of those, and good habits, it's a very important thing within the administration. Because it's not the vulnerability that is meaningful, and it's not the vulnerability that works, because vulnerabilities are super rare. It's the misconfiguration and being in hurry that works. So, at least within my experiences, this is how we are getting inside. Okay, guys, couple of more things. Because whenever we are thinking about the infrastructure, I would like to show you also one very often committed mistakes within the infrastructure. And that tiny mistake is related to installing services within the accounts that are a little bit too privileged. And here comes the small demo. So, what do we have here? So first of all, we do have here two services. One service, it's called, as you see, MSA service. It is installed, let me enlarge it a little bit differently, on the account with $. This is the account, the kind of new account from Microsoft that is called Managed Service Account. And in 2012, it's actually called GMSA, Group Managed Service Account. And this account, it doesn't need to be an admin, but very often it is. It doesn't have to be SQL Server. Some service. There is always some service in the infrastructure, and I'm not afraid to say it, always some service that is running on a little bit too privileged account. What does it mean? If the user can get access using the offline mode, user will be like, okay, how far can we go? Let's see. Can we grab the password of this administrator here? Of course we can. Just a quick question to you. If we have a SQL Server, if we take the SQL Server, get it out, put it out of the network, restart, will the database work? Don't be afraid, come on, you say yes, yes? And that's true, exactly. So definitely it's gonna work. Why? We do have a process. That process needs to be started. It needs to be started with some privileges and with some credentials. Whose credentials? Well, in this case, gonna be administrators or somebody else's. But this is a domain account. Shouldn't it be authenticating to the domain? Well, yeah, it should. There is such a concept like a cache session. It doesn't work here. Why? Because password, unfortunately, it's saved in the registry. So let me show you, of course. I'm gonna make a full screen. It's gonna be a little bit better. And then I'm gonna do that tiny, tiny thing here. So first of all, I'm gonna run, so let me go to my tools. That's gonna be faster. Back. Yes, tools, and then psexec. And I'm gonna run the console -s -i -d cmd.exe. That means S stands for system. I stands for interactive, because if you run process as a system, it will not be able to operate with us. We will not be able to pass anything to it. D, because I'm a nested and I like to have things running in a separate window. That's it. Who am I? System. So, let me go back. SAPD. This is the tool that is written by our developer, Michael. Michael, he is a very nice guy. And he made our job a little bit simpler. If you want to get the tool, go to the tools, because it's over there. You will find it useful. This MS SQL Server 1, it's running on administrator. So last step, MS SQL Server 1, enter. If you ever wondered, what is the password of my, let me enlarge it, administrative account, this is basically it. Yes? Anybody that is a user, that is not a built-in user, is gonna be like that. So the question is, if it's you, if it's a domain admin, if it's some other domain admin, SVC backup, because usually SVC backup is the domain admin, I don't know why, but still, we do have this person's password. Interesting for 30 minutes? Hopefully. Okay, very good. So, let's move along. So guys, we discussed within our presentation 3 things. First of all, the BitLocker as the good concept for the offline security. Second thing, we played a little bit with the online access. So the small conclusion that is related to whenever, for example, one of the layers is not working properly, then we need to basically analyze that, and we need to pinpoint our mistakes. Maybe there is some security that is missing somewhere. So another thing that we've been discussing is actually related to the small mistakes that we've got. So, for example, somebody installed the service, this service is a little bit too privileged, we are wondering what to do about it, and somebody is able to basically grab our password, because if you are local administrator, then you can do it. And maybe we could hear like, of course, well, but you need to be a local administrator to do it. Yes, but I just showed you that if you don't have an offline access, you can be local admin in a second. So that's just a tiny bunch of things, in my opinion, the most important ones. Don't ignore any layer within the security, use the offline access, and remember about these DEM services, because it's repeating everywhere within the infrastructure. And please don't forget to download the tools. If you will, of course, have more questions, I'm just in front of this room at the Promet booth. And if you are interested in more information, I do have a bunch of trainings within the leaflets available. So please step by, please ask questions, and hopefully you will enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you so much.
I think we may have time for at least one question. Thanks for a wonderful
Thank you.
and lively presentation.
Thanks.
Is there a question out there?
It's gonna be.
Everybody understood everything.
I'll be there
smart,
if you
guys.
want. Of course.
So everything is
Very
clear.
nice.
Okay. Well, thank you, Paula.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for coming.